You're quite studious. How splendid.
The Wunderkind of Jutland's government has returned!
I'm terribly sorry for being late.
Worry not. We weren't surprised at all when the messenger informed us of the situation.
It sounds like you had quite the debate with that moderate Councilman Lindegard.
I don't think politics would make for an interesting topic at the dinner table.
Everyone wants to hear about it. We were just talking about the day you persuaded the king on the necessity of this war.
You exaggerate, sir.
No need to be humble. Many of those here once held office as well, and they'd never heard of something so counterintuitive. To think that war would be what shines a ray of hope on a closed-off country. And what happened? The gunfire at the Empire's towering base in Molda became the light that illuminated Jutland.
Lord Madkine, I understand your desire to praise your future son-in-law, but it's a letdown hearing you tell the tale. We haven't even had a toast to celebrate his return yet.
Oh, where are my manners? Please excuse me, Lord Ostrad.
Don't worry about it, Lord Madkine. In fact, I'm quite thankful for it. Solomon, would you do the honors?
Me, Father?
Don't keep everyone waiting.
Very well. At this time, I think there is only one suitable toast to give. To Jutland's victory.
That's right, to victory.
To victory!
Furthermore, I have an announcement to make.
What is it?
The hostilities have begun. With that in mind, I'd like to delay Sophia's and my wedding until after the war. Until the day Jutland seizes victory.
Solomon, what's gotten into you? Does Sophia know about this?
This is my decision, and it's the first time I've mentioned it. I'm sorry for not discussing this with you.
I had a feeling you would say that.
You talk as if this has nothing to do with you.
Father, Solomon is very hard both on himself and on others. He feels that it would not be right for only him to be happy during this time of war.
It's all right, Sophia. You don't have to go out of your way to defend me. Please excuse my selfishness. I simply wish to focus on changing this country.
It's been so long. I've heard all about your exploits.
I have yet to do anything of note, Professor.
What can I do for you? You didn't come simply to visit your alma mater, did you?
Nay. Do you remember Amlet Gronkaer?
Yes, I remember him. A fine student, always competing with you for the top spot.
Just so. He is now the captain of the anti-Valkyria squad.
So I've heard, yes. Did you have something to ask about him?
No need to fret, just say how you feel.
Truth be told, Professor, we are investigating Amlet. The officer he executed was named Balthus Greppenberg. He seemed to know the man, as if they shared some history. Amlet's foster parents have passed away already, as Godot can avow. What concerns me is that no records of him exist before being adopted by the Gronkaers. Had you heard anything from his adoptive family or anyone? The lack of any documentation at all is rather vexing.
What would you do with that information? Or is this just curiosity as a fellow student?
There is that. Although we were classmates, I know little or less about him. The Amlet I thought I knew was always calm. A respectable soldier who never lost his temper on the battlefield. but in that moment, he was different. I had never seen him wear such an expression. 'Twas a sudden shock, indeed. I cannot even say for sure why I am so curious about this.
When you were my student, once you set your mind toward gaining knowledge, you sallied forth and never looked back. Even at school, you two were wonderful rivals. You always pushed each other to learn and grow.
It's a matter of the princess's safety. The last thing I need to worry over is a threat from within. I couldn't bear to face His Majesty were that to happen. Please, Professor, even the smallest detail could help.
His competitive nature and raw talent left an impression on me, yes. But he was never the type to talk about himself.
Indeed.
On the other hand, his foster father did confide something to me. A traumatic experience from before he was adopted.
At his orphanage?
Yes, there was a fire there, or something of the sort.
Haven't you had enough to drink?
It's fine. It's not like anyone's waiting for me at home.
Oh, please. You have a wife, don't you?
I do, but she's a socialite. Every night she's at a party somewhere.
Ah, the extravagant type. There are definitely those kinds of women. Still, she must mean a lot to you, right?
No way. The only thing keeping us together is money.
Why not just drive her out?
Unfortunately, I married into her family.
That is quite a problem.
I should head home. I have an early start tomorrow.
Oh, is it that time already?
See you. Talking to you helps calm me down. Thanks.
I wish I had met you sooner, Leonid.
Thank you, again. I must be off.
Huh? Oh, Freet. What brings you here? We don't have a meeting scheduled, do we?
Just need to do a bit of research. The guy who just left, wasn't that...
Oh, that's Godot Villefort, from Vanderbilt. You know him?
No, just odd seeing a soldier in a place like this.
He was looking through some old newspapers for an article written 10 years ago.
What did he want with that?
No clue. So what brings you here?
Need to do some research on Valkyria.
Don't know if we have anything on them.
Even folktales would help. I'll be browsing the stacks for a bit.
This isn't a library, you know.
Yeah, but you've got a much bigger selection.
Well, maybe if you wanted unlimited access, you shouldn't have quit.
Freelancing suits me.
Just put back whatever you take out.
A fire?
At an orphanage in Molda, back when Ruse held control of the region. That's where Amlet and the others grew up. Problem is, there's no public record of the incident.
Huh?
I did find a small report on the fire from a local newspaper, however. According to the article, the orphanage was run by a mother and daughter plus a few others. Almost everyone died. Burned alive. Only 5 children survived, one of whom I believe is the captain.
That does indeed corroborate the professor's statement.
The children were playing outside, and when they returned to the orphanage, they found it burned to the ground. By their accounts, it was an act of arson. Unfortunately, that's all there is on the matter.
But why?
It's worth noting, however, that Claudius and his 4 vassals came to Jutland around the same time. One of the places they visited included the Valkyria ruins at Molde, near the orphanage.
Let me guess.
I remember. I'll never forget what you Rux did to us.
'Twas the Grand Generals.
Once Ruse annexed Molde, local records were lost. The trail ends there. Even the Royal Archives contain no mention of the incident. It's like the orphanage never existed in the first place. I did learn the 5 surviving children were adopted by foster families, but I haven't found their names yet.
Have you mentioned this to Amlet?
I tried to speak with him about it, but he was evasive.
Is that so?
One last thing. The soldier. The augmented one.
Did you learn anything?
He is almost certainly Prince Laertes.
So he is alive.
How'd it go?
He had some kind of monster.
Monster?
It wore a black cloak, had a scythe, like the Grim Reaper.
Had to be the Valkyria.
So the Emperor really does have one at his side.
I've heard rumors that Ruse's rise to power is because of their alliance with the Valkyria. The soldiers who survived their invasions all report seeing the same thing, a Reaper. Didn't think the Emperor would have it with him.
It's quiet.
Good point. Not even any warning sirens.
We made the perfect preparations, and we get impeded by a myth?
First question. The word princess doesn't usually call to mind someone wielding a sword or gun. I admit even now, sitting in front of you, trying to imagine you braving the battlefield is...
A bit difficult?
Yes, excuse my bluntness.
I did not want to be trapped by conventional ideas of what a princess ought to be. As I learned in my institute days, there is much and more I would never have known without leaving the palace walls.
It's my understanding that you excelled at the Institute of Alchemy.
Alchemy was not the only subject I studied there. I met people from many walks of life, and from them fostered different ways of thinking. 'Twas like entering a new world. Those experiences made me who I am today. And as a member of the royal family who holds the kingdom's fate in my hand, I felt it was my duty to protect the people I had met.
And that sense of duty is what compelled you to join Vannergund?
Just so. I applied the moment it was established.
And your father, His Majesty, did not oppose this at all?
But of course he did. along with half the country. Nevertheless, I worked hard to earn everyone's understanding and approval. Fortunately, my Ragnite aptitude complements my convictions. I suspect that played a role in swaying their opinions. History tells of many royal women who have taken the field. I am certainly no exception.
Well, this is true. I've heard stories of a Brennish princess who once led the charge in battle herself.
As you may know, the blood of that same princess flows through my veins.
Are you saying you were born for this?
At present, I believe that fighting connects me to my subjects, so to speak. The battlefield reminds me of what it means to be royalty. Some call me a savior, but I do not deserve such a name. In combat, I am but a soldier. I learned that lesson well. Untethered by titles, I can wield a sword without restraint. Knowing that I stand with 8 million Judish lives at my back is what gives me the strength to fight another day.
Words I'm sure will give any who read this piece strength.
Why, thank you. My world has grown much wider thanks to the people I've met, both at the Institute and among my friends in the squad. They too are connected to countless other lives. Once I realized that, it felt as if liberating a country was like bringing freedom to each and every one of its citizens.
Restoring their freedom, huh? I see.
I heard you left the country.
What nonsense.
Then where, pray tell, have you been these past few days?
The bathhouses.
Without so much as notifying your fiancé?
You're a man as well. I'm sure you can hazard a guess.
You cannot deceive me.
You honestly say the strangest things.
I object to all warfare, no matter how pretty its trappings. Others may blindly follow such propaganda, but not I.
Oh? Propaganda?
Nothing but tragedy lies at the end of a military campaign. War is evil.
Then how would you explain the present situation? If we gave in to the embargo and became unable to function as a country, what could a single member of parliament do?
At least I made an effort. I stayed in Ruse till negotiations were scraped together from naught.
Yet naught came from it. The war is producing results. Make no mistake, this was done because I love our country.
My love for this nation is not inferior to yours.
And that's fine, isn't it? Let's work together for the sake of our country.
Lord Madkine.
Oh, Councilman Lindegard.
There is something I wish to ask you, if I may.
Oh? What's that?
Where is Councilman Kallenberg? I've not seen him for days.
What business do you have with Solomon?
There are rumors that he has left the country. Forgive my impertinence. I only asked because you and Miss Sophia shall soon be uniting your family with his. I merely assumed one of you might know his whereabouts.
I haven't heard anything. How about you?
I haven't either. He doesn't talk very much about work.
Thank you for letting us know, Councilman. I'll ask where he went the next time I see him.
Looks like you got a tail. Leave it to me.
Don't you screw with me, asshole!
This is all just a misunderstanding!
Did you expect me to buy that crap?
Huh? Sorry. Please help! This guy's gonna beat me up!
Hey, let me go!
Oh, we got a wise guy, huh? Now listen here, buddy.
Where's His Majesty?
He went to see Balthus.
Perhaps to swear revenge. I can almost feel the warm embrace of spring.
The moon seems so much fuller. We put the king and his heir to sleep on a night like this.
Yes, it was just as quiet.
Sometimes I still dream about the evening of the coup.
Do you know?
Surprised?
I can't say that I ever have.
What a thrill it was. The beginning of a new age for us all.
Everything changed once His Majesty summoned the Valkyria.
His Majesty's a real terror. Even with the backing of death itself, doing in your own father and brother takes guts. But it was also the start of greater ruse.
You're drunk.
It was Balthus who dealt with the Crown Prince that eve.
Balthus knew how to get things done. He could tear an enemy apart, all while wearing a smile. Ruse would have never maintained its foreign relations without him.
Aren't you chatty tonight?
I guess you spurred me on. I think the five of us did a fine job building up greater ruse through each of our specialties. Gustav, the man who attacked you at Avalon. I think that's who killed Balthus.
Now there's a face I won't soon forget. If that alchemist was his killer, I'll take care of it.
More importantly,
Hmm?
what are your thoughts on his replacement?
Maxime? His induction into the Grand Generals came as a surprise, but that's all part of the fun. If nothing else, his combat prowess piques my interest.
I see. So you approve?
And you don't?
I believe it's too soon to judge.
How very prudent, and yet how boring.
What can I say? It's my nature.
Medals pile at your feet as the heads of our enemies roll, Maxime. You are nigh unstoppable.
What does your Majesty wish to seize next?
Rest for the nonce. We must inspect your arm. It really was the correct choice to take you under our wing. To accomplish so much for us, you are the perfect soldier.